So a lot to discuss when it comes to Joe Rogan, particularly how he kind of sold out when it comes to his move to Spotify. But he still says a lot of good stuff, and I really, really agree with his opinion that we're about to go over right now. So Joe Rogan's not perfect. Some of his episodes have not made it to Spotify, and he tried to cover up the fact that they didn't want some of the episodes that he had on their platform. I don't like that he lied about it. If he just said, look, they don't want these, it's like, okay, well, it's kind of a knock, but can you really knock him too hard? The dude, didn't he get wasn't it $100 million to move over there? Who wouldn't take that money? But he's still a little bit of a fresh of breath air when it comes to Hollywood, and I like this opinion that he puts out there because it's true. I've long said that one of the reasons that a lot of these actors and actresses, comic book professionals, people that are writers for big properties, stuff like that, they'll all come out and they'll say, whatever the big leftist woke talking point is, they're all over it. They quickly jump on it. But they're hypocrites, right? This is why when you hear about Leonardo DiCaprio giving a speech about changes in the climate, and then you find out he took a private jet there and back into another meeting, he doesn't really mean what he's saying. He's kind of a hypocrite, but it's more of an act to get a job. These are job applications, okay? Canceling people is a job application. Putting out big talking points on maybe like saying, let's defund the police, that's a job application. These people are hypocrites. It's talking points to land jobs. This is why some of the people that you'll see an irrelevant celebrity that's not really, I guess you call them celebrity, they're not really celebrities anymore. When you see them come out with an opinion that's really toxic and nasty to 50% of the country, because it is, this country is divided down the middle, whether you like it or not. That's a fact. But when they come out and they say something like highly politically charged, it's to get a job. Because Hollywood is overrun with one ideology, and that's it. And that's also one of the reasons why Hollywood is so creatively bankrupt. It's because they only push one talking point, and they're also extremely scared of going against the grain, so everything is safe. So Joe Rogan says Hollywood is full of insecure people blindly pushing liberal talking points to land acting jobs. It's effing horse shit. Podcast superstar Joe Rogan believes Hollywood's left-wing bent has a lot to do with hungry actors who parrot radical talking points to land jobs, summarizing that most of them are just nonsense people who have not thought these things through, and considering it is effing horseshit. Speaking on the June 17th podcast, Breaking Points, Rogan explained why he believes Hollywood is so ideologically left-wing. It all comes down to young, hungry actors saying whatever they believe casting directors are going to want to hear to land the job. Rogan said, adding that these individuals often hear what others are saying and parrot those talking points to secure jobs in the industry. You see people bend to whichever way the wind is blowing. It's like, what do I have to say? He continues, I would go on these auditions and I would see these poor effers, they that were lost in this world of being chosen for things. And that's what shapes the entire mindset of that part of the country, Rogan continued. The entire mindset of that part of the country is doing things that you think other people will like. They're insecure people that go to a place where they're going to get rejected a lot. It's the worst thing ever for their mental health. He continues explaining that it is possible for there to be such an ideological drive in Hollywood because the country is basically divided 50-50. And he's 100% right there. Everyone's divided. That's why it's one of the reasons Hollywood loses half of its audience by doing this. And I don't think that they really understand that. Or maybe they do. But the real problem is a lot of these people that, California, not so much the entire state, and I know that there's rural areas and stuff like that where they don't have the same line of thinking as people that live in the cities, right? but it's the Californians that live in these cities that drive our pop culture. And they're so ingrained into this left way of thinking, they don't open up and allow for any discussions. There's no diversity of thought anywhere in Hollywood at all. And if you have that, if you have any kind of thinking that leans to the right, they'll get you kicked out of the industry. You'll never work again. Tim Allen's a really good example for that. He doesn't get much work anymore. Remember that show? What's that show he had? Like, man, I didn't watch it, but I know a lot of people like it. It's like a newer show. But anyway, it's something man. I'm sorry. I can't think of the name of it. But that show was fairly popular, and it got canceled, but it only got brought back due to the popularity. But other than that, like, he's not even voicing Buzz Lightyear in that movie that's coming out, that movie that's going to basically be the movie that the toy was based on. He's not even voicing. I think they gave that to Chris Evans, which makes no sense. Why couldn't Tim Allen do that voice? And I think it's probably because of the fact that, well, he doesn't get much work because he's a conservative. Look at Gina Carano. That's a much better example. They kicked her out of Star Wars. Why? Because she's a conservative. I don't think she's basically confirmed that. I don't think she's confirmed that she's a conservative, but I would say it's probably pretty obvious that she is. If she's wrong, if I'm wrong, I apologize. But I think it's pretty fair to say that she's a conservative. Look what happened to her. Look what happened to Roseanne Barr. A lot of these people, if they come out as any kind of conservative leaning way of thinking, they get booted. So is it that you're telling me that everyone who is creative is left-wing? Is it everyone who is expressive? Is it everyone who is theatrical? Is that possible? It's not possible, he said, because it's not really opinions. They're willing to not have any opinions on anything else other than feeding narcissism, feeding this career that seems insurmountable and impossible to achieve. He's right. A lot of people are lying, and they're not honest about who they are with people, and they're not honest about their opinions. But I've covered a lot of this stuff, and it's fairly obvious that in a lot of industries, there are groups of people, and I'm not trying to get into, it's not a conspiracy thing. It's just how humans are. Humans get into cliques and groups, and a lot of these, cliques of more popular people, if they don't like you, they'll keep your ass out of something. And a lot of these things, like the comic book industry is a really good example of this. The gaming industry, that's starting to get exposed. You have these groups of people that all think one way, and usually most of them are no-talent hacks. And if you get in, they don't like you, they don't like the things that you stand for or what you believe in, they will work to keep you out. They'll spread rumors about you. They'll tell people that you're being nasty or that you don't want to work with this person, and they effectively just keep you out. And you can't even really keep to yourself, or they'll come after you. It's a very messed up way that our entertainment culture has just been hijacked and destroyed. He continues, you can feel the angst pulsating off their bodies. And you run into that more than you don't, because most people are bitter and most people are weirded out, and they adopt these liberal sensibilities and ideologies, and they don't necessarily do it because they thought these things through. I mean, occasionally you've got your Mark Ruffalo type characters who are really all in, but most of them are not. Most of them are just nonsense people, and those nonsense people will just get on the stage and they'll say at the Grammys or the Academy Awards, this is what we have to do. We have to make sure that we do this and that. And he added, it's effing horseshit. I like what he had to say there. It's spot on. And I've been saying it for a while as well. When people do this stuff, it's a job application. It's a job application. When someone gets canceled and these people that had nothing to do with it jump in, it's a job application. A really good example for this is if you've been following my channel and what happened to Vic Mignogna, the terrible crime that happened to him and how he got canceled. You had a lot of bottom feeders that jumped in to make a name for themselves and go after him. People that he's never talked to or encountered jumped in and tried to attach themselves to that and burn him down to get jobs. One person comes to mind. Part of her name, I don't want to give her any notoriety, but believe that she has the name of the planet Mars in her handle. And she is still talking about that man to this day. At least every day she talks about him. And this is done because this gets this person noticed. You know, big people in the voice acting industry take notice of this, and maybe it'll lead to some work. It's a constant job application. So anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about all this. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out. Also, take a moment. Make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. There's something going on right now, and they've been unsubscribing people. So just take a second and double check on that, and subscribe if you're new.